The camp that we stayed on last night was a dried out riverbed just outside of that town, about 20 minutes drive from where we were looking around where I bought this shirt. And now we are slowly making our way over to an area that has some trails, and maybe if we have enough time we'll get to the salt flats as well today. But this scenery is really making it worth the drive. I'm really in no rush to, you can see it out the window. I'm in no rush to get there. It's very lovely scenery, and I'm reacquainting myself with a manual transmission. I feel like I am doing what you're supposed to be doing in a car, what they advertise all the commercials as what you're doing in a car. You buy the car, you go out to the desert, you're driving on some curvy road, and you're shifting gears the whole time, instead of what people usually do in a car, which is spill coffee, blow vape clouds, fart, leave trash on the floor, and then, you know, eventually someone throws up in the back seat, and then you don't have a new car anymore. Like, you think this entire environment got shaped by water and erosion, and like all these odd shapes of this clay or whatever this soil is, how sharp, you know, it was all shaped by water. But when you look at the plants, and they're cactus, they're like for arid landscape, so you know it doesn't rain here much. They do really well out here, the chama or the llama, and they're all over the place. They're running around. There's like a few fincas or haciendas or, you know, little ranches to take care of them. And we just found one. That's why I stopped. There's like a few places where they can drink, but not many. And like, look at the bed of this river. Like, how pronounced it is and how steep. And you can see there's a little bit. I'm sure if you dug a well, there'd be plenty, but it's not much on the surface. I like it a lot. You know, we're driving on a dirt road. We've been driving on the same dirt road for about an hour, and have not passed another car yet. And we saw one guy collecting grass for some kind of project, and then maybe, yeah, there was a lady kind of crouched under a wall, and then there was a third who was with he had sheep, and he was putting them into this corral that you could tell by the color of these bricks that he made the bricks out of local material, you know, like earth that he had picked up from the area right around his house. I'm in the little tower of this church. You can see the stones that put it all together. Pretty cool, but pretty safe to say that we are far away from the tourist spots. So we just completed a side quest. We found a gentleman, we found a lady first walking along the road, and like, I stopped, and then like, I'm like, do you want to get in? Do you need a ride? And she's like, yeah. And she just got in, and then like, we're already going. I'm like, where are you going? You know, and then finally we came upon her husband who broke down his motorcycle. And then he's like, oh, cool. Yeah, take her back to my house. Along the way, we picked up their daughter too. So the three of them and a bag of stuff on the motorcycle, and the tire blew. And I took him back to the house, and like, he just rode back on a flat tire. And yeah, so like when we dropped him off, you know, I'm like, I can ask for something in return. So I asked for cocoa leaves, which are supposed to help with the elevation. We were at 12,000 feet earlier. I think we're maybe at like 12.5 right now. So this is the highest Dottie has ever been. So we're gonna see.
Like double.
Yeah. I don't know. Everybody does this. They just kind of put them into the cheek like tobacco, and then it's supposed to help with the elevation. So we'll see. You know, one side quest complete, and back to the main mission, which is to get to the top of that mountain. We've reached that part of a mountain road that all mountain roads come to, where the rocks are too sharp and too far apart the huge gaps for the vehicle that we're using, and we are assessing if we're going to go up any higher because there is a weather system coming across the valley right there, but the rest of the sky, a little bit right there, but the rest of the sky looks all right. We don't really know much about weather in the Andes Mountains. Just have to look, right? Just have to say, like, all right, are we prepared for this? So I think what we're going to do is just sit down and eat and wait to see if this weather clears up, because we still have plenty of daylight left. And that family, the two that I helped and the guy rode back on the motorcycle, he said that we should stop by on the way back down from the mountain if we wanted to stay the night or whatever at his place. So we have that to consider too. We don't have to drive in the dark if we don't want to. It was a good time to be waiting at the car deciding whether we should go or stay, because we got these rather large balls of sleet, or tiny bits of hail, I guess. Large for sleet, small for hail. It's 4,200 meters above sea level. All right, we made it to the ruins. Kind of stone walls are still fully intact. No litter, not destroyed at all, no graffiti. So I like it. I feel like we've made it further than a lot of people do. But the actual summit of the mountain is up in that mess somewhere. And the snow is starting to pick up. And I am chewing on cocoa leaves and it's working for me, but Dottie's getting a little bit of a headache, so I think it would be wise to return to a lower elevation. But we're just gonna poke around these ruins a little bit longer and then head down. Right now, there's some character building weather moving through at a quite low temperature, but we're at a very high elevation, which makes it hard for me to breathe, and it's giving Dottie a headache. But like, in spite of the weather and everything, you just want to walk a little slower, then like take another picture and just kind of like do a full 360 look around and just try to remember this place and like try to enjoy your surroundings while you're in it. And even though the snow is coming in sideways and you know the cocoa leaves are not really delivering for Dottie, you still want to be like, okay, this place is unique and it was a tremendous effort to get here. So the mountains and the desert in Argentina, I don't know if I'll ever be back. So you just try and take like an extra minute, you know, to look at the place and really try to remember everything you're feeling. We stopped at their house on the way back down the mountain, the family from the side quest. It's a place called Peña Alta, and I initially only asked for hot water, but Yolando and his daughter Marianella took Dottie and I on a hike to the red escarpment that's behind their house. He showed us his garden along the way, a place that he hand-dug the irrigation for to kind of make an oasis in the desert. The cave and remains where the ancient people used to live on the side of this cliff, and the tall rock from which the legend says Don Quixote jumped and died. We never would have found this place if someone hadn't shown it to us, so I'm glad we stopped there on the way back. Although the stop for hot water / hike up the escarpment kind of turned into a side mission of its own, as it became clear that we would be staying for the rest of the night. It was also a good opportunity to practice my Spanish, as they had no English at all, and I typed into Google Translate as many questions as I could think of about how he made bricks and a roof out of mud and grass, how he farmed through the winter, all kinds of stuff. Foreign travel is very difficult, and it really makes it worth it when you meet a family like this that's just so willing to meet you where you are and host you and work with your translator or your poor language skills. We ate the Argentino national dish called guillo, and then Yolando accidentally locked us in a room and then had to climb through a window to go find a trowel so that he could squeeze it between the jam to let us back out. Over dinner, they asked to see pictures of the United States and Australia, and I asked them a lot of questions about their lifestyle out here. Staying with this family has been my absolute favorite part of the trip.